Now we're going to complete registration here. So to complete the registration, we can sign the user in using sign in with email link. So this is the email link. When the user click on the email, they land on this page. All right, so when they click, they land here, and you can see the API key is here. All right, so that the entire URL will be used by Firebase before they sign in the user. Let me open the inspect console as well. All right, so let's go back to our editor here. So here in the handle submit, when the form has been submitted with the password, what are we going to do? The first thing, we're going to try to sign the user with sign in with email link. All right, so let's use try and catch block. Try catch. If we get any error, we will handle that here. So to try, what we're going to do is we're going to use the method. We can put that in a variable called result equals to await auth. So Firebase auth we have here. All right, so that's how we import. So auth dot sign in with email link. Make sure you have the camel case right, no typos. All right, so auth sign in with email link. Now this one requires arguments. So the first argument is the email, which one was used, right? So that one we have here in the state, the use state. Why do we have use state? It should be use effect. Okay, sorry, that's my bad. It should be use effect, and this use effect runs when the component mounts, and as a result we tried having a look at it in the console as well earlier. So I don't know how that changes to a state. Anyways, so make sure it is use effect. So use effect will populate the email in the state here. So we get that, and then the next one is the actual URL, the full URL. So we can grab that using window.location.href. window.location.href. If you're curious, you can even try console log here in the use effect. Why don't we do that? Let's do that. Console log. Let's also have another console log to get this email from the local storage. All right, come back here. You can see we have the URL, entire URL, and we have the email from the local storage. So these two properties we are passing to this function, sign in with email link. We're giving the email as first argument, second argument is the entire of the URL. Okay, so that should give us the result. So we can have a look at that. So let me actually comment this out. So here, once we try that, we can see that here, console log result. Okay, let's try now. Let's put some password for the moment, anything, and let's hit complete registration. You can see we got the error. Let's have a look at the error. Anytime you have error, go to the network tab, and here you will see a list of the request that has been made, and the one with the red, this is the error. Okay, you can see here invalid code. All right, so domain. All right, let's have a look here. Try console log the error. Console log error. I guess the link has been expired. I was trying it a couple of hours ago. Let's see. Okay, let's click here. Okay, that's the same error code, but if you go to the console, you can see the message, the action code is invalid. This can happen if it is malformed or expired or has already been used. So this is the old key, so that's why I'm getting this message. Okay, if you try again, if you try with new one, let me actually close this. Let's go back to here. Let's try again. GraphQL React Node at gmail.com. Okay, email has been sent. Let's go have a look. All right, this is a new one. Okay, let's click. Now this should be valid. Let's give it a try. Go to the console. We don't really need password for now. Let's hit complete registration. And you can see we get the successful result. User has been saved. This is technically a passwordless authentication. This is a passwordless authentication. You can see here we got the user information. The display name is not there. Email is there. We have some refresh tokens here and a lot of other information. All right, so that's good, and that also means that this user has been now saved. If you click here, you can see the user has been saved. So when they click on the email link and then we made a request to Firebase, that successfully creates the user, but we don't want to stop there because we don't want user to check the email every time they want to log in. This is happening only for the first time when they register to our application. From now on, every time we want them to just enter the email and password and then log in. That means this user need password, right? So at the moment it is this user doesn't have a password. It is a passwordless login, and that's why we have this form, so that as soon as we get this result, successful result in this function, we get that result. As soon as we get that, we will update this user's password, and this is the password whatever user entered. This is the password we're going to use to update this user's profile in the Firebase. So that way, not only that we have saved user, we have the saved user with password. Instead of passwordless authentication, the user will have password. That way, next time they can come in and log in with email and password. All right. Now let's continue with doing that. Let's comment this out. Console log error. You can see you got the error message earlier, and we can show that as well. So we can show that using toast dot error dot message. Let's make sure we have toast. Yes, we do. All right, that's great. Handling error has been done. Now let's continue here. So once we get the user, let's make sure we have the user. If result dot user dot email verified. All right, so we also want to make sure that email has been verified. Okay, looks like we lost that. Why don't we just comment out and give it a try one more time. Okay, now this is I'm using this for the second time, so that's why it's invalid. So let me try one more time. Okay, let's try. I want to show you how that looks, right? You know, gmail.com, because you never know, sometimes users might be doing some kind of trick to get to that page. So we want to make sure it is everything there's been no compromise. So we want to make sure that the status is there, the user email verified. So have a look here. Console. You can see we got the result, user, and email verified is true. Okay, so that's a great way to make sure that everything has been done correctly. Sometimes user might do some tricks to land on this page, you know, do some tricks to complete the registration without actually clicking on the email. So with this check, we can make sure that the email has been verified. All right, so if result user dot email verified, then we want to update this user with the password. Okay, so at this point, a couple of things we can do. The first we can do is remove the email from the local storage. So previously we saved here, that should be still here in the local storage. Yeah, we don't want to leave it here, we want to delete that because there is no use for that anymore. So remove user email from local storage. So that's one thing. Next thing, we're going to get user ID token. Okay, so this is the token that is the one we're going to use as JSON web token. Okay, so later we will integrate it with our backend as well. So this is the way to communicate. Okay, so JSON web token, this is the one, and then redirect. We also need to populate the user in the Redux store, which we don't have yet, but we will create that later. Okay, so let's remove the user email from local storage. So window dot local storage dot remove item. So to remove any item from the local storage, we use this method, remove item, give the key that is email for registration. Okay, now once that is done, we want to get the current user. So let user equals to auth dot current user. You can see we have this auth function from the Firebase, and that gives us the currently logged in user. So this is another good thing about Firebase. We don't have to save the user in the local storage because the Firebase will keep track of the currently logged in user. Right? So by using this auth.current user, we get the currently logged in user. And there is a bit more work to be done here. We need to go to the app.js, and then in the use effect, we need to check the auth status all the time. But we will come back to that later. Okay, so auth.current user. Now we want to update this currently logged in user's password, right? So await user dot update password. So this is another function that comes with the Firebase. So we get this currently logged in user, and then we can access this update password function, and you just give the new password. Okay, so that password is here. When user inputs here, that is available in the state, and that is the one we give. Okay, so this way we log the user using the email link, and then we remove that existing email from local storage, and we update this user with the password. So previously it was passwordless, now it is with password, which is great. All right, now we can get the token, const id token result equals to await user dot get id token result. Okay, so this is another method we can use to get the currently logged in users token. Okay, so await user get id token result. All right, now we have the user and we have the user's token, which is the JSON web token that we can use to access the secure routes later in our backend. All right, so here we need to dispatch to the store. We can dispatch the currently logged in users information, such as this user's email address, this user's JSON web token. We can do all that. We can populate that into our Redux store, but we will come back to this because we don't have Redux set up yet. Okay, so at this point we can redirect the user if you want to, and to redirect we can use history.push. Let's make sure we have this structured. Yep. Okay, history.push, and we can push them to home page for now. Later we will push them to the dashboard, but at the moment let's just leave it like so. And if you curious to have a look at the user and the token, let's just console log here for now. Console log user. I'm just using the string so that it is more readable in the console. ID token result, comma, ID token. Okay, and let's not redirect at the moment. Let's comment out, because otherwise you don't see this in the console. We will be taken to another page. So let's comment that out for now. Okay, let's give this a try. Now when we hit this button, before we were just sign in the user with the email link, but now we're trying to update the password altogether when the button is clicked in the handle submit function. Before we did just this one, and that worked, but now we are also trying to update the password. So if the user is giving the password that is less than 6 characters, then there will be an error. For example, let's try. You can see the accent code is invalid. Okay, so that's due to the token. If I put less than 6 password, 6 character, okay, we still see that. Okay, probably instead of trying it one more time, why don't we actually do a bit of a validation here? I guess we have to manually do it for the password length. Okay, so here validation. So we're going to simply check if there is email or password. If no email or no password, then we want to show some kind of error message to the user. So we can use the toast.error, email and password is required. Okay, let's copy this down here, and let's check for the password length as well. If password dot length is smaller than 6, we can show another error message that says password must be at least 6 characters long. All right, now not just the error message, just showing the error message does not stop the code execution below, and we want to prevent that, right? So if user haven't provided the email or password, or if it is less than 6 characters, we want to stop here. We want to return the execution. We don't want to execute the code below. For that, you can use the return keyword. Okay, and same here. Okay, so that way we can easily perform some validation to check for the email and password, and then everything else goes here. All right, so let's try without password. You can see email and password is required. That's great. If I put just 3 characters, password must be at least 6 characters. That's perfect, right? Now let's try with more 6 characters. Now the code, because this link has been expired, so let's try one more time. So let's go, let me close this, let's go back here, let's try one more time. GraphQL React Node, okay, let's check the email. Let's have a look in the console. Password 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, we have that. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so we get the results, the logged in user. So we have the user. This user don't have the name because it was a passwordless authentication. So all they have is user email, and this user have the refresh token as well. Okay, so if they log in with social login like Google, they will have we get the photo as well, we get the name as well, but this time it's just the email and token. All right, so that's great. We're not redirecting anyway because we have this comment out, but if we didn't have that, we should be redirected away to the given page. Okay, so that's cool. The next thing we want to do is set up Redux. Right, so when it happens, we want to populate the user and the token in the Redux state. And the reason we want to do that is this logged in user, we need to access this logged in user's name, email, things like that, and most importantly the token, the JSON web token, we need to access that on many different pages in the application later. So we're going to put that in one global state, which is going to be a Redux state, and from there we can access the user's token whenever we need. All right, so let's go to the next lecture. We're going to set up app.js in a way that we can keep track of the authenticated user, the Firebase authenticated user, using onAuth state changed method in the use state hook. So anytime the user auth state changes from login to logout or anything like that, that will dynamically update the user in the Redux store. Okay, so the this video has been quite long, but I want to try one more thing, that is this redirect. Let's see if that works, and then we just go straight to the next lecture. Okay, let me try one last time. All right, let's try here. Click the link. Now you must have noticed that the same user can register multiple times because this is actually a passwordless authentication. So users shouldn't be doing that, but if they want to do it, I mean, they can do it. You know, we don't duplicate the users, so it will just update the same user. So no harm in that. Okay, so we are redirected back to the home page. Perfect. You can check in the Firebase. It's the same user, they can log in many times, no problem. There is no duplicates or anything like that. All right, so that's great. Let's go on to the next lecture.